Selling moves is obviously a very important aspect of a professional wrestling match, as it's pretty much fundamental to telling a story in the ring and maintaining the illusion for the fans watching. And while there are of course instances of no selling moves, those are typically kept to a minimum and usually don't factor in when it comes to the most devastating offense. Sometimes, however, a performer will absorb something deadly and get back up none the worse for wear. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 wrestlers who no-sold something brutal. Join us. Number 10, Warrior's game-breaking glitch. Let's kick things off with one of the most infamous no-sells of all time, for more reasons than one. For the first time in nearly 4 years, the Ultimate Warrior set foot in a WWE ring when he appeared at WrestleMania 12. His opponent was a young upstart from Connecticut who used to have a French accent, but kept his snooty rich kid attitude. His name was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The future COO of the company started off the match strong by nailing the former world champion with a pedigree. Scarcely a second after the move connected though, Warrior stood right back up, brushing off the finisher like it was barely an inconvenience. Considering how powerful the pedigree was made to look in future years, just ask Booker T, it's stunning to watch somebody treat it like just another transitional move, even if they were one of the biggest stars of all time. Triple H never forgave the Warrior for disrespecting him like this. Actually, he might have been more than happy to put over such an esteemed legend in their return match. It depends on which interview you watch. Number 9, Kane's Moonsault Miracle. Whilst The Undertaker did his fair share of no-selling back in the day, you could argue that his half-brother was more adept at the art. Kane's whole gimmick when he first debuted was that he was a horror movie monster come to life. Since Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees didn't really show pain, neither did the Big Red Machine, so Glenn Jacobs was forced to take some gnarly moves without batting an eyelid. Perhaps the most brutal example of this came at No Way Out of Texas, an In Your House show from February 1998. Kane was facing Vader en route to a Mania match with his kayfabe brother, and both behemoths went out of their way to prove to everybody just how tough they were. The Mastodon had the Big Red Machine prone on the mat and hit him with his trademark moonsault. A second or two later, Kane sat straight back up and carried on with the match, totally shrugging off the force of a 400-pound man hitting him square in the chest. Vader didn't fully connect with the move, otherwise Kane might have actually died, but this was still mightily impressive and only added to the new monster's aura. Number 8, Hawk's Neck of Steel. This entry isn't about one specific no-sell, but rather a man who made a career out of taking punishment and walking it off. The Road Warriors famously didn't sell for their opponents, that was just part of their appeal. Two tough-as-nails badasses who were impervious to pain and, judging by their haircuts, fashion. Road Warrior Hawk was particularly tough to keep down, especially if you tried to hit him with a piledriver. You can find plenty of compilations of him getting dropped straight on his noggin by everybody from Henry O. Godwin to Kane to Sting, only to bounce off the canvas and get right back on his feet like nothing had happened. Whilst Jerry the King Lawler probably hated this trend, it made the Legion of Doom feel like larger-than-life superheroes with heads like Captain America's shield and necks like Mr. Fantastic's body. For Hawk to take so many of the moves and never suffer a serious injury from them is simply a testament to his ability as a worker, and also probably how afraid of him all of his opponents were, and also drugs. Number 7, Omega does it for love. In one of the greatest matches in AEW history, Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page defended their World Tag Team Championships against the Young Bucks at Revolution 2020. In a fantastic battle that was every bit as emotional as it was athletic, the former Elite Brethren left everything between the ropes in their quest for tag glory. The spot of the match has to go to the moment Matt and Nick Jackson hit Omega with a Golden Trigger, the finishing move of the Golden Lovers, his old tag team with Kota Ibushi. Incensed that his so-called friends would use his own move against him, Omega powerfully kicked out of the move at 1 as the crowd went bananas. While some no-sells require you to suspend your disbelief, this one was brimming with realism. Omega, Ibushi, and the Bucks had a complicated history in New Japan, and the Jacksons evoking this stoked a fire in Kenny's heart. He then immediately got flattened by a double superkick, but for that brief moment, Omega was a god among men. Number 6, Ibushi's Bomai Nay. Speaking of Kota Ibushi, the Golden Star obviously taught his former lover a thing or two about no selling, as he has been known to do it on multiple occasions. Affectionately known as Murder Ibushi, the Japanese ace can slip into a state of mind where he seems completely unaffected by pain, a tactic he has used to create magic in some of his biggest matches. Take Wrestle Kingdom 9. Ibushi was facing off against IWGP Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura in a match seemingly designed to kill at least one of the participants. Nakas seemingly had the bout won when he unleashed a vicious bomb IA, that's a Kinshasa for all you fed-pilled losers, from the second rope, landing his knee flush against the back of Ibushi's head. Did this keep him down for even a second? Nuh-uh. Ibushi got right back up and carried on the fight, to the shock and awe of the crowd. He ended up falling short of his target, but had proven himself more than capable of hanging with the big boys. Just don't say anything nice about him in front of Jim Cornette. It will not end well. Number 5, Lio Rush breaks the internet. Lio Rush is an interesting little sausage. The man who used to point at Bobby Lashley's bottom has had a wild career full of controversies and missed opportunities. He also once made everybody very cross on Twitter. At Combat Zone Wrestling's 2017 Once in a Lifetime event, Rush was battling Joey Janela in his final match for the promotion before leaving for WWE. He clearly wanted to make an impression, as he decided to do something he knew would make headlines the next day. Janela hit the acrobatic wrestler with a mad powerbomb off a ladder and through a table, but before fans could even register the move, Rush hopped right back to his feet, brushing off a move that would have ended any other match. The discourse surrounding this was ugly. Arguments raged over whether or not wrestlers like Lio were killing the business or simply evolving the sport, with neither side willing to give the other room to speak. Weirdly enough, wrestling didn't die as a result of Rush's actions, but to some people, he will always be that guy that spat in the face of tradition and then got straight back up. Number 4, Sting's Last Stand. Whilst Hulk Hogan was hulking up for the WWF, Surfer Sting was pulling the same trick on the other channel. The Icon's trademark no-sell chest-beat combination continued throughout his career, even during his crazy old man run in AEW. The Stinger no-sold moves that would have floored most men in their 60s, including during his final ever match at Revolution 2024. Sting and Darby Allin were defending the tag team titles against those pesky Young Bucks in an anything-goes brawl. Matthew and Nicholas didn't give two hoots about Sting's fond farewell and tried to murder him several times. This included powerbombing him off a ladder and through a table, only for the face-painted freak to rise from the wreckage to a monster pop. The good guys won in the end, ending Sting's incredible career on the highest of highs. Now, for God's sake, Steve, will you please sit down? Number 3, Goldberg's chair scare. We are ending our list with a trilogy celebrating one of the most controversial moves in wrestling history, the unprotected chair shot to the head. Many wrestlers have taken brain-scrambling blasts of steel and not gone down, but few took them quite as well as Goldberg did when he faced La Parka on the June 1st, 1998 episode of WCW Nitro. The man in the skeleton onesie used to carry a chair with him down to the ring as part of his entrance. The referee tried to stop him using it on the reigning United States champion, but when Goldberg goaded him, Parker did not hold back. He swung the chair right into Bill's head, causing a sickening thud to ring out around the arena. The luchador started doing his celebratory dance, only to turn around into a massive spear from the champ who hadn't even left his feet. Parker made no attempt to soften this blow, relying entirely on his opponent's toughness to stop things going horribly wrong. Considering that Goldberg quite likes to headbutt locker room doors before his matches, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that this was such a walk in the park for him. Number 2, Lesnar's Hardy Head. When Brock Lesnar exploded onto the scene in 2002, WWE went out of their way to portray him unlike any other wrestler they had ever put on TV. One of his first feuds was against the Hardy Boys, and he would regularly terrorize both Matt and Jeff in singles matches, tag matches, or just random segments on Raw. Take the April 8th episode, on which Lesnar proved the hard way that he was damn near indestructible. With Matt in a powerbomb position, Jeff tried to save his brother with a vicious chair shot to Lesnar's head. Actually, scratch that, it was directly to his face. And then, despite essentially withstanding a cannonball to the mush, the next big thing stayed upright. If that wasn't bad enough, Matt then whacked Brock equally hard in the dome for good measure. Though this shot knocked him out of the ring, the Beast landed on his feet and was completely fine just a few seconds later. Watching this segment through modern eyes is a tough task, as neither Hardy holds anything back in their respective assaults. It certainly did wonders for Lesnar's unstoppable image, but it's a good thing this sort of thing is outlawed today. Number 1, Haku takes a seat. Everybody knows that Haku is one of the toughest wrestlers ever, but it bears repeating just how badass he was in his prime. During his WCW days, when he was known as Meng, the Tongan bad boy often dished out pain to all sorts of top stars. One of them was Dusty Rhodes, who tried to get his own back at Clash of the Champions 28, only to fail really, really badly. The American Dream got into the ring with Meng, a wooden chair in hand. He smashed the garden accessory over his foe's head, only for the attack to have zero effect. Zilch. Meng just stood there, broken chair around his neck, arms outstretched, looking like the coolest dude to ever walk the earth. I mean, just look at him. Black shirt, white tie, dark shades, splinters of wood all around, and not a scratch on him. This, as the kids say, goes hard. Haku might have never won a major world championship or headlined any of the big American pay-per-views, but moments like this, plus the cavalcade of insane stories about him outside of the ring, ensure that his legend will live on for the rest of time.